So aliens, UFOs, apparently they're coming, or to some, they're already here. We're going to take a look at this video from this televangelist, Perry Stone. In this video, apparently he's speaking about an encounter with some guys from the government, you want to call them Men in Black, reached out to a couple of influential pastors to inform them about these aliens that are supposed to be coming, or that when they appear, for the people not to be alarmed. And a lot of us is just sitting back and watching this. And if you're thinking like how I'm thinking, it's like, why now? Why choose now to, quote unquote, release the UFO files? For years, we've been wanting to see something concerning these UFOs, as well as the highly secreted base in Area 51. So much mystery around UFOs and aliens. So we're going to listen to this pastor or televangelist, whatever his title is. We're going to listen to him, and we're going to see what is it that he was informed by his pastor friends. And as us being believers, Bible believers, what is it that we need to be focusing on, and what do we need to be looking at when it comes to these so-called UFOs, these sightings, and what's going to be released in the coming months?
I had a friend that sent me a text message. I was in a meeting, a weekend meeting, preaching Friday, Saturday, and Sunday morning. And he said, Perry, can you give me a call? I have some information that has come to my attention. Of course, when a friend of yours does that you know quite well, you have no idea what information they're talking about. And I'm not going to go into great detail, but there were a large number of pastors that had been invited to go to a certain state to hear some men in the United States government and others share with them a concern that they had. And this particular man, and I'll not name him, and then we may end up doing some teachings with him or having
call these guys
an event at his church. He has a great church. But he said, Perry, what they're about to release, from what we're hearing, there's going to be a release concerning aliens and concerning unidentified flying object spacecraft, that some of the people who were in the meeting were telling us as pastors, you need to prepare your people and you need to get ready to answer them for what you're about to hear.
And what's interesting for me is, out of all the pastors in the United States, they choose a select few of pastors. More so, I seen in another video, they was choosing pastors with more of an influence, guys who have big followings. It doesn't surprise me that, only a select few of pastors were informed about these UFOs that will be releasing, or that would be introducing themselves into society. But I have my own thoughts concerning that. And as believers, we really need to get in front of this and understand, what is this
being released? And some of it has to do with crafts that have been discovered that are not allegedly a part of our planet, and the materials they're made of are not a part of our planet.
Really, really, really quickly. When they say not of our planet, they are alluding to the fact, or they are making the assumption that things are coming from outside of the planet. And if you read the Bible and you understand clearly the creation of the universe, there is a firmament around the earth, and in what's called, or what scholars call it, an impenetrable dome that is covering the earth, where us as humans, we can't get out. And if there was life outside of that, they can't get in. So, um, to use those words, objects that were created from out of this world, it alludes to the fact that, there is life outside of the planet. So it makes you believe that if these items didn't come from Earth, surely there is life outside of this planet, right?
Very strange reptilian looking creatures and other things that almost sound like something out of a sci-fi movie or an Orson Welles book. And
And we've been
so
hearing about reptilians a lot too. So
here's what he was sharing with me. We discussed a little bit. What are these things that are appearing? Steven Spielberg is about to do a movie, and he's basing it on some of what I've been told, the information that he's come across, that he's had research presented to him. So it's like a sci-fi movie, but it's not a sci-fi movie. Now, I want to say this. I want you to listen to me very carefully what I'm going to say. What I'm going to say is going to be a little bit controversial, but my son wants him and I. Now, my son's way out there. I'm letting you know up front. He's got some theories, and it's like, Jonathan, where did you come up with that? And he's a researcher. He's wide open on a lot of things that most people would not even be aware of, or some people wouldn't be interested in, but others are definitely interested in. Okay, first of all, we read this in the Bible. By faith, we understand that the worlds were created and framed by the Word of God. Now, the worlds there would be the planets, the earth. And remember this, that in the second heaven, first heaven is, when you have the earth, you have the first heaven, which is the clouds in the atmosphere, 60 miles up. But when you get past that into the darkness of the heaven, into the cosmos, let's say it that way, you have the sun, moon, and stars, you have the nebulas, you have the constellations, you have the galaxies, you have the Milky Way. I mean, the Milky Way is not just, we're just a pinpoint of what stretches out there. And they say that creation continues to expand. Well, that's because
and now he's going into what I would like to call mythicism. That creation is still expanding. We understand through the scriptures that the Most High God created everything in 6 days, and then in the seventh day he rested. Everything when it comes to life on earth, the animals, even the spirits that have their abodes in the heavens, everything was created in 6 days. And we understand that after God finished creating everything in 6 days, he stopped creating. Everything that he created, we seen and he said was good. And when you read Genesis, the 6th chapter, it tells you that the sons of God, which we know to be angels, came down and took human women, as their wives, and they procreated and they created what we know as giants on the earth. So after the Most High finished creating in the 6 days, there were other beings which are products of creation, which continue to create, which was outside of his command. So we can narrow it down by saying that the Most High God did not ordain those creations, but he actually condemned those creations. And we understand them to become what's called evil spirits on the earth, which proceeded from the creation of angels mixing their DNA with man DNA, creating giants or the Nephilim. And when they were killed off during the flood, their spirits became evil spirits on the earth, which we know as demons. And you could read all about this in the book of Enoch.
God said, let there be light, it continues to create. I have no problem with the expanding universe theory because God never took back his word. God said, let there be, and boom, it continues to create. So that's another subject in itself. But there are stories out there, and some of them I'm not going to tell because I don't want to get caught up with people taking what I say and trying to edit it and clip it and make it say things I didn't. This is the kind of stuff I would teach at one of my conferences more than I would on a YouTube channel, or definitely more than I would on social media, because people read into what you say, they add to what you say, they take away from what you say, they make you say things you didn't say, then they create some kind of AI that definitely was not you. But here's what I want to tell you. According to the men who were present, who have the information, they said to these pastors, you're going to have two responses more than likely when all this information is eventually released. Now, I don't know what the total information is. I know a little bit about what it's about, but apparently whatever this is very serious. And number one, you're going to have people who are going to say, if there are galaxies and there are allegedly other creations in the galaxies, then the whole creation story is a myth. And you're going to have people that's going to apostatize and turn from the Christian faith because they have no answer for what they're about to hear. Then they said the opposite will be. There will be a group of people who are not followers of Christ, are not followers of the Bible, and they're going to freak out, and they're going to come to pastors, ministers, and teachers and say, what is this? Is this really real? Now, my son thinks that a lot of this is going to be government fabrications to eventually, over time, explain away disappearances. Now, you know, this is not a movie. There's like 11 scientists that all have one thing in common. I'll let you research this, that have disappeared. They've just disappeared. What's happened to them? Have they all decided to go in hiding? Have they all decided to go into some underground government bunker?
So to also address what he mentioned about when these so-called sightings start to appear on the earth, so they will have questions from all over the place, where people, believers and non-believers, would actually question the validity of the Bible. And it seems that, I guess, these government officials or these men in black are trying to get in front of this by aiding the pastors with helping them to answer questions that they may not know how to answer. They may be blindsided. And my theory on that is them basically getting in front of whatever it is that's going to appear to help steer the narratives like they've always done, especially with mainstream Christianity. For years, they've been given the playbook. So when these things appear, or if they don't appear, whatever it is, or if they orchestrate some type of event, the pastors would have the perfect verbiage on how to instruct the masses. And there's nothing new under the sun. That's what they've always done. They've always used the pastors, the preachers on the pulpit to really lead the people in the direction that they want them to go, without the people actually reading the Bible itself.
Nobody knows what's happened to them. They've just up and disappeared. You see this right here, this picture of this guy going up into the spacecraft, a UFO. There are people who believe. I have some friends. I'm at the International Prophetic Summit. And when we talk in private, I wish you could hear the green room conversations. No, I don't. Because if you heard the green room conversations, people would just go bonkers because everybody wants to give their opinion now. Nobody just listens and soaks information in and says, I don't know about that, maybe so, whatever. They just immediately want to give their opinion. So that's why we keep some things privately behind closed doors or at a conference more than we do share it on a YouTube. You know, some people, everything they think they know, they go on a YouTube channel and want to tell it just to get views. I'm not that way, but I did feel like this was very important. My son believes, and I'm beginning to tend to believe as well, that this information is being presented so that at the return of the Lord, when there is a great disappearance, and if you talk about the rapture, go to 1 Thessalonians 4, 16 through 17. Well, it doesn't say rapture. Yes, it says caught up to meet the Lord in the air, harpazo. Call it the harpazo.
And that's another thing that he's actually put in front of us to explain the rapture. For those of us who study, we understand that the rapture the understanding of the rapture itself was a man-made concept. So that theology came from two Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola, and I forget the other guy's name, but they came together. They were Jesuits, which are the dark order of the Catholic Church, and they created this concept through a theology called the rapture, or the left behind. And a lot of us grew up Christian. You remember the Left Behind series by Timothy LaHaye and the other guy, right? They created these movies for the rapture understanding, but the Bible speaks nothing about the rapture, which he clearly just stated, because the word is not found in the Bible, but they use particular scriptures to say, yeah, the rapture does exist, that the rapture is real. And that caught up is during Christ's final return, when he comes to rule all nations. But as you can see, the narrative that he's speaking of here and what he's presenting, listen, I'm not saying he's paid off. He's a paid shield. Who knows? But from what I understand and from the Bible that I read, this has nothing to do with nothing. Because when you read the Bible, Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2, it clearly tells you to learn not the way of the heathen and to be not dismayed at the signs of heaven. So there's going to be a lot of signs in the heavens that people will be dismayed about. People will be confused. People will not know what's really going on. And it says, even if it was possible, the very elect would be deceived. So I'm taking this with a grain of salt. This meeting that happened with these pastors and them being approached by men in the government, there's going to be reptilian beings and UFO sightings. I'm not saying that those things are not real, but what I am saying is it has nothing to do with your salvation. All of it is a distraction. All of it is smoke and mirrors, because in this point in time that we are living in this earth and this time period where the tensions is happening in the Middle East, oil crisis, the economy is crashing. Why now? Why give us this information? Oh, no, don't forget this new hantavirus that's now outbreaking, a couple of confirmed cases here in the States. Why now? Why give us all this information? Why inundate us with everything that they're showing us through the news? They'll show you one thing in your face, but then in the same breath be doing something completely different. So we got to be very, very careful. And the reason why I say that, because I'm going to play another video where Vice President J.D. Vance actually confirms what we know concerning UFOs, what they really are, and how did they get here.
Going to release all the UFO files.
We're working on it. It's funny. When I came in, I was obsessed with the UFO files. And then you start getting really busy worrying about the economy and national security and things like that. But I've still got 3 more years as vice president. I will get to the bottom of the UFO files.
Okay. Have you peeked? Have you done a peek?
So I actually haven't. I
the
have
full
not.
Independence Day.
I have not been able to spend enough time on this to really understand it. Yeah. But I am going to. Trust me. I'm obsessed with this. I've already had a couple of times where I'm like, all right, we're going to Area 51. We're going out to New Mexico. We're going to sort of get to the bottom of this. And then the timing of the trip just didn't work out. But trust me, anybody who's curious about this, I'm more curious than anybody. And I've got 3 years of the very, very tippy top of the classification. I'm going to get to the bottom of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Hangar 18, right?
I've
heard that as well, but I don't know. I haven't looked into it yet.
Okay. All right. Well, we're waiting for it. We saw aliens.gov.
You know me.
We saw aliens.gov.
I don't think they're aliens. I think they're demons anyway, but that's a longer discussion.
See? Coming from his mouth. He said, I don't think that they're aliens. I think that they're demons anyway. So, what are they trying to prepare us for?
Well, I can't let you go without a follow-up on that. Because Barack Obama is on this podcast, and he goes, yeah, aliens are real, but, here's where they're not.
I did not.
And so Obama says, yes, aliens he gets asked point blank, are aliens real? Oh, yeah. And then he goes, but they're not at Area 51.
Where are they, bro?
Well, that's what he says. Okay. Right. There's a great question. Trump had to go save him, and he said he's going to
This is how they play it off, when they laugh it off and all of that.
Well, look, I think that celestial beings who fly around, who do weird things to people, I think that the desire to describe everything celestial, everything is otherworldly, to describe it as aliens. I mean, every great world religion, including Christianity, the one that I believe in, has understood that there are weird things out there, and there are things that are very difficult to explain. And I naturally go, when I hear about sort of extra natural phenomenon, that's where I go to, is the Christian understanding that, there's a lot of good out there, but there's also some evil out there. And I think that one of the devil's great tricks is to convince people he never existed.
One of the devil's great tricks is to convince people that he never existed. Y'all heard it from his mouth himself. Could all of this information that is being thrown at us all at once is only being sent to confuse us and to keep us distracted, to keep us not knowing the truth? And you see, that's their whole role. That's their whole game, is to give us the truth in plain sight and still conceal at the same time. Because at one side of their mouth, they're saying, yeah, aliens exist. But we have somebody high in government, the vice president, who's coming out blatantly and telling the world, like, yeah, they're not really aliens. I believe that they're demons. We just heard him say that. So to me, I'm not really looking into this whole UFO thing, and I don't really care for any UFOs. If I see some foreign entity, which I would consider a foreign entity, I'm straight considering it a demon. I'm not saying, oh, it's a UFO, they got a spaceship. There's technology that is out there that the fallen angels taught man that we've never seen before. So of course they'll be able to spin it and say, yes, these are life forms from other planets that are visiting the earth. But guess what, guys? These entities been here since before the flood. And I believe since we're now getting closer and closer to the end, and Christ is really about to return, these beings are going to start presenting themselves, because they've always been here. They're the hand operating behind the scenes. So brace yourselves, guys, for what's to come. Understand that whatever they're telling you concerning these beings, if you cannot confirm it through scripture, what are we actually confirming? So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. What do you guys think this is? Do you guys believe that this is some type of government exposure? They finally telling us the truth about aliens? Or is this everything that the Bible has already taught us concerning the fallen ones? And guys, thank you guys for catching this video. And if you found value in this little conversation here, please give us a thumbs up. Also subscribe to the channel. You're all helping us grow. And I want to thank you all, everybody who's subscribing, everybody who is helping this channel grow. I thank you and I salute you all. And I will definitely catch you all on the next one.